Hi guys, I've got a final reveal here, which covers two kits actually. I wanted to do a final reveal um, showing the two different kits. They're both French MBTs. One of them is a Hella AMX 30 105mm MBT tank, and the other one is the Revell Leclerc T5 MBT, both French army tanks. And I wanted to show them in comparison because I wanted to show you what I consider not a very good model looks like and what I consider a really good model looks like. The Hella AMX 105 it's had quite a bit of slating from the modelling community as being a bad kit. I wouldn't say that it's a terrible kit, but I would say it does have a couple of issues. We'll just take the Leclerc out of the way just for a minute. Just take that out of the scene. And I'll turn the AMX 105 round so that I can show you one of the issues. The first issue, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here so you can get a good look at what I consider the first issue is. There we go. Pan that round a little bit. The first issue I have with this kit is that the turret detail is very heavily and overdone. Especially the commander's cupola there with the machine gun hatch. It just looks terrible. I was not very impressed with that commander's cupola, and the machine gun doesn't even look that good, although the machine gun on this tank isn't that different to the machine gun that's on the Revell Leclerc. The other issue I had with this kit is that this is a lot of what the modelling community was slating it for, is actually the tracks. The tracks were abysmal. They're too big. There's no tension in the tracks at all, although they are quite easy to apply, which is just as well because those road wheels, 3 or 4 of them, came off the mounting pin as I was putting the tracks on, and I had to re-glue them. They're quite a shallow recess on the inside of the road wheels. If I can turn the kit upside down, so maybe you can see. Can you see the fitting on those road wheels there, how they go in? They're actually quite a narrow and quite a shallow pin that holds those wheels in place. And unfortunately, 2 or 3 of them came off and I was fitting the tracks, which is a little bit unfortunate. But the rest of the kit is actually quite nice. It's quite an enjoyable build as well. It's a nice looking tank. I think a lot of the time when you're having an enjoyable tank build, because I build quite a few tanks. I'm actually I play on PC a game called World of Tanks, and I like building tanks because obviously, when you're playing this game and you're getting involved with a lot of the different types of vehicles that you drive in the game, and you're building them in plastic form, it's actually quite rewarding to see the kits coming together and how they finish, and getting reasonable finishes on them, which is really good. But the kit wanted you to build this kit in an all green overall camo pattern, which is just one single green colour. But at the latter stages of the AMX 105's life, the AMX 30's life rather, it was painted in the similar colours to the Leclerc's colour scheme, which is the 3-colour camo you can see in front of you. And I quite like this camo pattern on the French tanks. I think it's quite effective. The disruptiveness on the camo pattern is really, really good. And it does sort of take away some of the outline of the tank and makes it a little bit difficult to see, see the outline, the shape of the tank properly, which is interesting. It was a reasonable kit. I was quite impressed with the actual finish on the kit. It wasn't bad. The kit's quite cheap to buy as well. As I said, it's quite an easy build. It fits together quite well. There's no build issues with the kit whatsoever, apart from those pins on the road wheels, and the tracks are too big. But the actual kit itself fits together quite nicely, and it's an easy build for novice and new builders. So I would recommend this kit to new builders. It's good. It's a good fun kit to build. Very good fun. This one, this is the Revell Leclerc. Let's take the AMX out of the way for a minute. This kit is beautiful. I'm going to be honest with you, this kit's really, really tasty. I did build a kit which, in my opinion, Revell did a better job of, which was the T90A tank earlier last year. But I'm going to be honest with you, this reproduction of the Leclerc tank is pretty true to life. The Leclerc tank is bereft of surface detail on the tank because an awful lot of it is integrated into the turret's body, and the detail and the fitting detail on the tank is it's quite bland, and the model reflects that. But if you actually look at what's going on the kit, I mean, if I can bring this to you a little bit closer, you'll be able to see a little bit of what I mean. Just beside the main gun, where the piece goes into the front of the main turret there, you've got what you can see. There's like a twin set of doors in the brown camo section there. Well, you can actually cut those open and have those in the open position. They're actually the optic sights for the tank, which is quite nice. There's a lot going on this kit. You can have the hatches open if you wish, both the commander's cupola and the machine gunner's hatch. You can have them in an optional open or closed position. But one of the things that I've found about this particular kit is this is the first tank kit that I've built with track length and link that I didn't need the side panniers for. I've put them on because the Leclerc tank has the side panniers, but the length and link track method of construction on this kit went on so well. There was no gaps in it whatsoever. The track links actually met where they're supposed to meet, and it looked so good. I didn't need the side skirts. If I didn't want to put them on, I didn't need to have them on. And the actual finish on the tank itself, the tracks, they're really nice. They're really nice tracks, and the road wheels looked really superb. When you see the build progress video on this kit, you'll see exactly what I mean, because when the track assembly went together, they really did look smart, really did look very, very good. The detail on the back of the tank, you've got the indicators and the rear brake systems there. There's a little bit of chain mailing going on, and there's a big collector bin at the back there with some sort of fitting on the back of the turret. The machine gun's nice, faithfully reproduced, which is great. Everything is there. Even the turret rotates and the gun elevates and everything. The turret on this kit is a bit of a nightmare, I'll be honest with you, because it's an incredibly tight fit, and when you paint this model up, you can't fit the turret on. You have to actually sand out the aperture for the turret to fit into again. And I did find it a very, very tight fit. There was a lot of the modelers in the professional modelling realm that were saying that they felt that they could have had this gun barrel in one piece. It did go in two halves, and I can appreciate the fact that they think it would have been an awful lot less work if it had been in one piece. But to be honest with you, it fitted together very, very well indeed. It's sanded down beautiful, and there's no filler required. And the piece at the end actually has a hole in it, which is great. It looks really nice. This Revell, I'm going to be honest with you, I've built a number of different companies' military vehicles and tanks, and you can't beat Revell. The Revell kits are superb. I've never built a bad Revell model yet, and they do some of the older Matchbox reboxings in Revell kits, and even the Matchbox kits are reasonably good, but I think Revell have only boxed the Matchbox kits that are good. I don't think they've boxed the Matchbox kits that aren't in the military runs. They did do a couple of Matchbox did do a couple of kits that were not very good in the military stuff, but most of the stuff that they did do was reasonably good. And Revell have reboxed them as well, and they slot in very, very nice with the rest of the range because they're all in 1/72 scale. So this is the Leclerc and the AMX 105. Sorry, the AMX 30 105. We'll just try and put them so that you can see them there. Pan this out a little bit. There we go. There's the AMX 30 105 and the Leclerc T5. There is one other thing that I wanted to say about these two particular tanks. They have claims to fame. The AMX 3105 was actually designed in the very late 1940s, and it did see service, I think, in the Korean War, and it has been utilised by the French Army for nearly 55 years. It's only recently been put out of service, in frontline service, as a medium tank. It was originally a main battle tank, but it was relegated to medium tanks purposes. And then it was utilised in the reconnaissance and light liaison and medium tank roles. And it was actually replaced by the Leclerc T5 in the MBT role. And the difference between the two tanks is about 20 million euros. And an AMX 3105 is around about, I think it's about 4.5 million euros to buy. And the T5 Leclerc, it's the most expensive tank ever built in history, and they retail for about 25.5 million euros per tank. That makes them, well, you can buy two Challenger 2s for the same price as a Leclerc, near enough. Yeah, very expensive tank. And the reason why the French used the AMX 30 for so long is that the AMX 30 was very versatile, good, rugged, very reliable, and it had reasonable armour and a reasonable gun, similar class to the Centurion. So yeah, just a couple of bits and bobs about these two vehicles. It's quite interesting. As I said, no real fit issues. Both the kits went together reasonably well. The Leclerc, it is length and link. As I said before, length and link tracks. A lot of people might find length and link a little bit of a problem, but I do remember when I first did a length and link tank, I think it was a Leopard Mark II that Revell did, and I did have some issues with it getting used to the single individual links going around the sprockets, but I don't find them a problem anymore, and I find length and link looks an awful lot, I mean, you can see it looks an awful lot better than that rubberized track. That rubberized track is terrible, but that length and link track is beautiful, isn't it? It just looks so much better. Very, very, very impressed with both of these two tanks. Well, they've come out very impressed indeed. So as I said before, that's the Revell T5 Leclerc and the Hella AMX 30 Model 105. Final reveals. If there's any queries, questions, pop them in the comments box, and the questions I'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for tuning into my channel again, lads, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye for now.